You gonna help me with the video? Say hi to everybody. Hi. Hi. Hi guys, welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. I'm Maggie and this is Maggie May Crochet. In this video I'm going to share with you the pattern to a sweater that has gotten a lot of attention on my channel. I wore this during my Amazon review of some items and people commented, so many people in fact, commented on how much they liked my sweater that they asked me to create a tutorial, and that's what this video will be. The yarn that I used is Big Twist in the colorway Spirit. Now, this is a Joann brand, and I know that that could be a problem for a lot of you trying to find this particular yarn now. It is available on Etsy. I did see it on Etsy, and I did go through a few different yarn brands to try to find something that was similar in case you're having trouble finding this colorway. Hirschner's has a really close match to this. It's called something Sunset. I knew I'd forget. Anyway, I'm going to link it here so you can see the colorway, and it's very close to this. And I'll also go ahead and post the link to the Etsy shop that has the yarn. I did find a yarn on Lion brand that is the same anti-pilling, and I think it's going to have the same sort of striping pattern, but it's in blue, and I thought it was really beautiful. It's called Fairview. I wanted to make a sweater like this using that yarn, but it hasn't come in yet. So my sweater took 328 grams to create, and this is what I would call a medium to large size sweater. The thing that's really neat about this pattern is that it is super easy to adjust. All right guys, so I want to start by giving you a visualization of where we're going with this. When I'm working from my desk, it's hard to kind of see how this is all going to come together, so I'm hoping that posting this first will help paint a picture in your mind of where this is all going. So we're going to start here with the left sleeve. We're going to create a chain, and into that chain we're going to put 2 rows of single crochets. Then we're going to start our pattern repeat, which is the same throughout the rest of the sweater. It's the same stitch. We're only changing things up by the number of repeats that we put in our rows. I suggest that you use measurements rather than a stitch count, because you might want to be able to adjust the size of your sweater. So this is very easy to customize and make it to fit for yourself. So that you have a reference, I'll give you the measurements of my sweater, and that will help you kind of build from there. So I am about 5'6", around 135 pounds or so. So this is the equivalent of a size medium. Okay, so my sleeve width is 12 inches. My total length of my sweater is, this says 43. Now I know that it's not going to lay exactly straight. About 43 inches total. This is the front and back panel. The length of my sleeve is right about 7 inches, 6.5 to 7 inches. The width of my sweater is 22 inches wide. Now I want to point something out which I don't think I mentioned in the video, but this will be helpful. When you're counting your rows, the 2 front panels each have 17 stitches, and the back panel has 16 as you're going through here before you add your little segment for the neck piece. Okay, so as we're going, if you count and you keep yourself wondering why you have one more row in the front panels than add up to the back panels, it's just the nature of the way we put in our sleeves and how things work out, so don't panic. 17 stitches, or sorry, 17 rows in your front panels, and there'll be 16 in your back panels, and this strip down the center here that makes up the neck is 4 rows wide. I used an 8mm crochet hook with this Big Twist number 4 medium weight yarn. Our first chain needs to be about 13 inches long. Now, I say it in inches because if I told you, make 38 chains, your chains might be smaller or tighter than mine. So chaining to the measurement, I think, is going to give you a better fit when you're working in clothing. So I'm going to suggest that that's how you do it. Take your measurements, use the chart that I'm listing down below, and figure out what size is going to work best for you, and just make your sweater match those measurements in inches rather than in numbers of chains and stitches, if you understand what I'm trying to say here. So I am going to go ahead and chain out a 13-inch chain. When you're making your chain, this is important, that you have an even number. So that the stitch count works out for you, you need to chain an even number. So I'm just going to write down how many I chained and we'll see where we stand here. All right, so I chained 42. Whoopsie, here we go. And wow, I am right at 13 inches. That's exactly where I wanted to end up, so I should play the lottery today. So into the second chain from your hook, you're going to place single crochets. I prefer to put my stitches into the back bumps of my chain. I think it gives you a better finish, but if you prefer to put yours in through the front, you can certainly do that. Okay, so we are going into the second chain from the hook and placing single crochet. So at the end, you'll have an odd number of single crochets. All right, so now that my air conditioner has stopped running, you might hear dripping in the background. I apologize for that. I am watering my chameleon. He doesn't drink from a bowl. Chameleons have to have moving water, so that's the sound you're hearing. I will include some B-roll at the end of Carl, my chameleon, in his cage and having some water. All right, coming up on my last two single crochets here. And at the end, we're going to chain one and turn our work. Now we're going to do one more row of single crochets. So the cuff on your sleeve will have 2 rows of single crochets. So go ahead and create your second row of single crochets for row 2, and I will meet you once you've done that. Now we are going to place our first stitch right here into the first stitch below, okay? Directly below, and 1 single crochet into each stitch. Okay, meet you at the end here. All right, so we are at the end of row 2. We're placing our last single crochet, and here we're going to chain 4. This chain 4 is going to count as a double crochet and a chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to mark my third chain, 1, 2, 3, because when we come back, we're going to be putting a stitch into the top of that third chain. This is going to help make it easier for you to find if you place your stitch marker in the top of your third chain. Now let's turn our work, and now we're going to skip 1, and into the next stitch we're going to place a double crochet. Okay, we'll chain 1. Now we're going to skip a space and place another double crochet into the next. Double crochet, chain, skip, double crochet. chain, skip, double crochet. Okay, so that's all that this stitch is. This is the pattern repeat. Double crochet, chain one, skip one, double crochet, chain one, skip one. I will meet you at the end. I'll show you how to turn. So as I'm working along here, it dawned on me that if you are newer to crochet, you may be running into one of the problems that I had when I first started, and that was getting distracted and not remembering or knowing how to tell if I did my chain one after my double crochet. So here's a little tip. You see these two bars that are crossing my yarn on my hook? Those two bars are the end of your double crochet. If you chain one, you just see the one bar, okay? So that may help you if you put your work down and you're wondering whether you chained or not after your double crochet. Just count how many loops over your yarn you have. Okay, so I just finished my last double crochet. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am going to go ahead and mark my third chain, 1, 2, 3, because that is going to be the end of my row when I come back. Okay, I want to make sure I can identify that to keep my sides straight. So stitch marker in your third chain. Now we're going to turn our work, and we're just going to be placing our double crochets along our work in the other direction. Each double crochet is going to fit into the top of the double crochet below. We're going to chain and have our space lined up. It's just an exact repeat of the row before. So we have our chain 3 plus the chain 1. We're skipping 1, and we'll place our double crochet into the top of the double crochet below. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the stitch below. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the double crochet below. So your stitches are going to all line up. Chain space over chain space, double crochet over double crochet. That's it. That is the pattern repeat for the entire garment. The only thing that's going to change now are when we start changing the number in each row so that we get our shape that we're looking for. I realized I didn't show you how to finish this row 3 when you have your chain 3 here and how to get your stitch into that chain 3 of the chain 4. So if you marked your stitch, great. If you didn't and you know how to find your third chain, you're good to go. So your last double crochet will go into the third chain on the end. You can count up 1, 2, 3, or if you marked it, you should be able to find it that way. We want to have one chain in between here to work like our chain space, right? That's the whole idea here. So your stitch, your double crochet, will go into the top of your third chain on the end. Now we're chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3. Oops, 4. I say 3 because I want to put my stitch marker there, but don't forget that fourth one, okay? Okay, I chained 4, marked my third, going back now into the top of my double crochet with a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Got it? Okay. We will continue this same pattern repeat until we have completed 11 rows. Our first 2 rows were our single crochets. Rows 3 through 11 will be this pattern repeat of double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Okay, so I have just completed row 11. My piece measures 13 inches by about 6.5 or so inches, okay? So I'm gonna stop here. I think that this is a good size for my sleeve. Again, remember, you can modify this in any way you need. If you want to make your sleeve longer or shorter or wider, just add stitches. This is a very simple pattern to be able to play around with and find the fit that you like. So I just finished my last double crochet in row 11. Now I need to create a chain. This chain is going to be as long as I want my front panel to be. At the end of this chain, I'm going to turn around and come back, and that's going to start building up the front panel of the sweater. Then we're going to continue across the other end of the sleeve, and then we'll make a chain as long as we want the back panel to be, and then we'll start making our double crochet stitches back the other direction, and we're just going to keep going back and forth now for the full length of the sweater. So the first sweater that I made was 40 inches long. I want this sweater to be just a tiny bit longer, so I'm going to chain 55 to the end of row 11. In that sweater I chained 49. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what we're going to do is the pattern repeat across the chain back up through the sleeve of our sweater here. At the end of your chain, turn your work, because we're going to be coming back the other direction, and we're going to skip 5 chains and into the 6th chain. That's where we're going to start our pattern repeat, okay? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 6th chain. Again, I like placing my stitches in the back loop. You could do what you prefer. I'll start my pattern repeat with my double crochet, chain 1. Now this is going to be kind of awkward working on this chain. You're going to see that your stitches pull up and they look long and weird. Don't worry about it at all. Ends up working out in the end. So this is going to count as my chain 3, my skip 1. So let me find where I'm going to put my stitches again. The easiest way to find this around this curve is to see that this is my double crochet. This will be my skip 1, the one after it. So this is the stitch, this top stitch here, that we're going to be concerning ourselves with when we come back. Okay, so I've chained 1, skipped 1. Here's my skip 1. Here's my next double crochet into my chain. And chain 1. I find that if I hold on to the base of my stitch here as I'm putting it in, it helps it not pull so high up. Skip 1. Here I'll show you again. Here's my next. I'm going to place my stitch, yarn over, pull through, and as I do, I'm going to grab here, yarn over, pull through. You see how this is coming up? Don't worry about it. Yarn over. Now I'm going to move my fingers up and hold here and pull through. That just helps keep your stitches a little more uniform in shape. When you pull it back, you see they start laying out nice. They look very stretched out as you're making them on the chain, but it all comes together in the end. Don't worry. There's my skip 1. Here's my next. So I'll work on putting my stitches into my chain and across the sleeve. I'll catch up with you here. And now we need to create the back panel by chaining the same number of stitches as you chained for your front panel. So I chained 55 for my front panel, so I will chain 55 here. When I get to the end, I'll turn my work to come back, and into the 6th chain I will do our pattern repeat. That's going to bring me all the way across all of my work now for row 13. We will continue on until the section of our panels, the front or back panels, is 10 inches wide. Okay, guesstimating, I think I had 16 or 17 rows that made it 10 inches wide. So again, you know, your stitches might be tighter or looser depending on the type of yarn you're using. That could make a difference too. So it's best to just measure. Okay, so 10 inches wide, and then we will get back and meet up again. So I have my double crochet here and my chain of 6. So to know where to put my last stitch, I'm going to turn my work over and count 2 chain spaces, 1, 2. This second chain space would count as the top of this double crochet that my chain formed, okay? So I'll yarn over and place my hook into the top of that stitch. And place my double crochet here. Okay, and that's going to give me my corner. Now I'll chain 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll place my stitch marker in the third chain. So another thing that I did not mention earlier, and I should have, I apologize. If you haven't yet already, mark the front of my sweater and you'll do the same to yours. I think it'll help you be able to find your front and back panel later. So when we begin our project, we make our base chain and then we put our stitches coming back, our single crochets coming back. So to find the front of your work, your tail, your beginning of your chain should be on your left if you're a right-handed crocheter. If you're left-handed, your tail will be on the right. So I'm going to right now put in this red stitch marker. That's going to be different than the ones I'm using through my work so I can spot it. And this is going to tell me that this is the right side of my work because this is my tail on the left, okay? That's going to help me now identify the front panel from my back panel. Up to this point, it's not a big deal. It's the same on either side, but once we start putting our neckline in and separating our front panel into two, then it'll become a little important. So this would be a great time to get that front of your work marked, all right? That's that. I'm still working on my rows here. I'll get back with you when my panels are 10 inches wide. All right, so I just crocheted 16 rows after the underarm of my sweater here, okay? So from that point out is 16 rows, and it should measure right about 10 inches. That's perfect, okay? So what we have here now, I drew it out because my camera can't get the whole sweater in, and I will try to get pictures to put in here somewhere also. But what we have now is half of our sweater, okay? This is the front, back, and sleeve. What we need to build next is along the back here, we need to bring in where our neckline is going to be, and then we're going to build another panel just like this. So we need a little space in here. So to do that, we need to find the center of our long piece of work. The easiest way to do it is just to go to the end of your work and count your double crochets all the way across, okay, all the way to the end, the entire length of your project. So I counted up mine and I have 70 stitches or double crochets. So I need to find the center point, and that will be stitch number 35. So my entire sweater at this point is 42 inches long. So I could also measure at 21 inches in. What we're doing here essentially is just finding your center point. So I'm going to count up 35 stitches and I'm going to mark it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Okay, so what this stitch marker is going to tell me is that I'm going to stop here. So I'm building a tiny little panel. It's going to be about 3 inches or 4 rows. And we're going to stop at the stitch marker. Once you've placed your last double crochet into the top of the third chain, in your next section, you need to create a chain. Your chain is going to be the same number as double crochets you had in your halfway point of your sweater. So my sweater had 70 double crochets at the halfway point. So that means I need to create a chain of 70. To that number, we're going to add 5. So my chain needs to be 75 long. If you have a different halfway point number, you'll just take that number and add 5 to it. Now what we're going to do is place our pattern repeat into our chain, the 6th chain space. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Into that 6th chain space, we're going to start our pattern repeat. We'll start it with our double crochet. And remember, this is where it gets kind of real loose fitting, but we get it, it'll pull together when you stretch it out. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. We're just doing that same pattern repeat all the way across the chain. Then we'll come right across into our work. That will complete row 33. You'll continue your pattern repeat until you've completed the 49th row. Okay, so I will get back with you at row 49. So if you're making a sweater using the same measurements as mine, you will make 45 double crochets along this panel of your sweater and stop. That's where we're going to start building our sleeve up. Now, if your sweater is a different size, you can determine where to build your sleeve on the other side by counting in from either end the number of double crochets you have until the beginning and end of your sweater. Then you can mark it with your stitch markers on the, whoops, there we go, you can see, on the other side of the sweater, and that's going to tell you to make your sleeve in through here. I'm coming up on my stitch marker that will mark the beginning of my sleeve. So I'll go ahead and remove my stitch marker and place my stitch into this double crochet. Now I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn my work. Now my sleeve is 21 double crochets wide, so I'll do my double crochet, chain 1, repeat until I have 21 double crochets along my sleeve. Here's 1, 2, 3. So my sleeve is 21 double crochets wide, so I'm going to count from here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I'm going to place my stitch marker here to remind me to stop here. I'll chain 4, turn my work, and I'm just going to build my sleeve from here. This will be rows 51 through 59 that we're completing. Okay, finishing my last double crochet on row 59. I'll chain 1 and turn my work. Now we're going to be placing single crochets into our work for row 60. So we'll come into our first stitch for our first single crochet. Into the chain space, we'll place a single crochet, and then into the top of our double crochet. So 1 single crochet per stitch. You'll just go right into that chain space and then into your double crochet. Okay, we'll come to the end, chain 1, turn around and come back. We'll do this for rows 60 and 61. So to join our sweater, we're going to slip stitch starting with the side that our yarn is still attached. We'll slip stitch along the arm, down the side. When we get to the bottom edge, we're going to single crochet around the bottom edge, the front panel, up the front panel, back across the neckline, down the other side of the front panel. We're going to continue our single crochets along the bottom here, and then when we get to the side, we'll slip stitch our way around and back. Okay, so I will meet you at the desk. All right, so to seam our sweater together, we're going to take our hook and place it into the opposite side that our working yarn is on. So this is the loop that's left from our single crochet row. I'm going to come to the other side of my sleeve and place my hook into the first stitch, and then I'll put the loop over my hook. I'm going to pull that loop through, and I'm going to chain to kind of block that in. So now we're going to be placing slip stitches into our work by going into the top of our chain 3 spaces, or we're at the top of our double crochets, and into the longer chain space here. Let me show you. So into the top or chain 3 space and into the top of our double crochet on this side. Whoops, try that again. And we'll slip stitch. And then into the bigger gap here, we'll do a slip stitch. Into the top of our double crochet, and on the other side, and slip stitch. Okay, and we're just going to continue this all the way down the underside of our sleeve, down the side of the sweater, and when we get to the bottom edge here, I'll get back with you because we're going to be placing a row of single crochets now around the bottom edge and up the side of our sweater. All right, so as I'm coming to the bottom edge of my sweater, you might notice that your number of double crochets don't match up perfectly, and that is okay. Just get your corner space lined up here, and you can kind of just make a little bit of an adjustment through here when you're placing your slip stitches. They may not line up perfectly now because of that difference in our front and back panel length. Okay, so we will just do our best to kind of get things evened up. All right, so now at the top of our chain 3 space here and into our chain space, or however you line up your last stitch, now we're going to start with single crochets. Okay, we're going to make our single crochets along the panel, the front panel here, and then we'll continue the single crochets up the side. When you get to your corner, to round the corner, you're going to place 2. Make sure I'm up here. When you get to your corner, to round this corner to go up the inside of your front panel, you'll place 2 single crochets to kind of square off your corner. Okay, so we're making 1 single crochet for each chain space, 1 single crochet for each double crochet or chain 3 space, like we were doing with our slip stitches, all the way across. Okay, I'm into my corner here now. I'm going to place 2 single crochets and come into my next stitches again. Okay, so that's about it. You will just continue with your single crochets up along the inside edge, around the neck, down the front edge, across the front panel. When you get to this corner, you're going to join with your slip stitches until you come to your sleeve, and then you'll finish off your work. All right, that's the sweater. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I post a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.